Okay, greetings. This is Edward Jambo. In this tutorial, we're going to discuss the difference or how to choose between Docker and Podman. This was requested by a few viewers. Now, before we begin, I would like to implore you to subscribe, like, follow, and leave comments, because the more people subscribe, the more this content gets pushed out to more viewers. Those viewers join this growing community. They post their tips and tricks, or they can post requests just like this one today, and then I'll personally research it and I will post what I find and share with everyone. I'd like to thank everybody who subscribed so far this month. Keep it up. And with that, on to the show. I do have an intro. It says Podman versus Docker, the truth. Okay. There's a little bit delay with the video. I don't know what's going on there. I have to, because I'm using the USB, it should be pretty fast. I don't know what's going on. Might be the webcam as well, which is also interfering, although I've muted the webcam. I'll take care of that hopefully later today. Okay, it's actually gone slow for some reason. All right, so every developer needs a way to run applications in isolated environments. You likely choose between Podman, Docker for this specific task. So both tools are open source. They allow you to package software into small portable containers. These containers can run consistently across different operating system and cloud providers. So what that means is that I'll give you a perfect use case for me when I actually started using Docker probably about 10 years ago or so. I had to upgrade some PHP-based websites, and some of them were running like really old versions of PHP. I'm talking like PHP 4.0, right? So really old versions. So the problem was, even at that time, I was running Debian, but Debian, although Debian is famous for being very conservative in how they upgrade, even Debian was running at least 5.4 or something like that. So you can imagine that to find a website running PHP 4. And so back then, at that time as well, Debian didn't have the part where you can easily switch out, at least locally. There are ways you could do it, but you could run chroot and all that, but I didn't want to do that. So anyways, the point was, it was a major pain. That's why it got me saying it's got to be a way to this. So obviously I used to run some stuff in a virtual machine, because you still had to test stuff like Internet Explorer 6 and all that. So I didn't want to do that, but I was forced to do that, and I was like, okay, this is just tedious. So that's when I read about Docker. I'm like, oh, Docker can do this stuff for me. So I ran it in Docker, and everything was perfect. However, I was still green, so I didn't really understand the benefits. But I can tell you all the benefits. Basically, we'll look at the benefits of Docker in that instead of running, for example, like a virtual machine, it will use the system, the kernel, and all that on Linux, by the way. So it will use that and speed up, meaning that you just have instead of having the complete operating system, just have the container part where you don't need the kernel and all that. I'll just grab it from the host system. That makes it fantastic. And what's great about it is you can use it with different distributions. For example, I said I use Fedora. I can easily run Debian, or like Ubuntu, or I can run, say, Alpine Linux, even Tiny, Core, all those type of things. You can easily run them using Docker. Okay, so Docker uses a central daemon to manage all your active containers. This background process requires root privileges to function on your system. So that's the key difference between Docker and Podman, is that Docker does require root privileges. So the problem with that is a super admin has to set up for you, or if for example, if you're in a workplace, whatever, the super admin will have to set up for you. So every time you want to maybe install a certain application, whatever, the admin has to be involved. So Podman is different, is that this one operates without a daemon, so meaning that it's by using a fork execute model instead. So it runs containers as a standard user for better overall security. So the great thing about this is that once the super admin installs Podman, then you can go and run your own, you can install your own software without having to disturb the admin. Now, there's a little quirk in that although Podman is meant to be a drop-in replacement for Docker, is because Docker runs as root. For example, it can use regular port numbers like 80 and 40 and 25, etc. Podman, because the default user is 1000, it only allows 1000 and above. So sometimes that's why you can see me when I run Podman stuff or whatever, I always have to change those port numbers if they're below 1000. So that's literally the only difference. Of course, since Podman came along, it wasn't 100%. It was probably 99%, but there was a few use cases it was not. But right now you can probably run everything that Docker can in Podman. I have put out my hair a little bit, as you can see, and I've been able to get things running. You guys have seen me. Even now, just use Podman Desktop as well. Okay, so by the way, Podman Desktop is not tied to Podman. You can obviously use Docker as well. Same with DistroBox. Another thing I do use is it's not tied to Podman. You know, the funny thing is on my laptop, I was trying to test some things, and I just put dnf install DistroBox, and it actually pulled in Docker. I was blown away. I'm like, what? It's pulling in Docker on a Fedora system? Okay, that was very strange. But yeah, so then I had to remove Docker. Not because I dislike Docker, it's simply because I didn't want to run as root. Because I spent like 2 days wondering what was going on until I figured out that, it needs root permissions. So that was a pain in the butt. So I moved it, and when I had Podman, no problems. So you can install Docker on Windows by using the desktop installer. Mac OS users should download the official DMG package from their website. I'm on Fedora Linux, so I can simply, Docker, as I just explained, is in the official repositories. I can just use dnf install Docker. Obviously, the Docker version is the CE. I believe that's the community edition. Yes. And then, if you're using Podman, obviously Podman, it's very easy to set up. It's a sudo dnf install Podman. If you're on any other operating system like Debian-based or something else, obviously Podman is in the repositories as well. And Windows users can install Podman using the official MSI installer file. And if you're on a Mac, you can obviously use brew. Okay, so the container feature comparison. So what happens here is basically that Docker obviously requires root access, and that's the and Podman is rootless. I mean, you don't have to run as root, and obviously it's a daemonless. And while the Docker, you have to run it as a daemon. So Docker Compose, if you want to manage multiple containers, Docker Compose helps you manage applications with multiple interconnected containers. You define your services inside one single YAML file for convenience. You guys have seen this as well for Podman. The name can be podman-compose.yaml, or it can just be compose.yaml. It can even be docker.compose.yaml. It will pick it up and will run it automatically. You can, for both of them, you can also specify a specific container, if you even a YAML file too. Okay, so understanding pods and groups. Podman introduced the concept of pods for grouping multiple containers together. These containers share the same network namespace and local storage resources. So what that means is that sometimes you might have a container maybe for let's say database, right? MariaDB or MySQL, doesn't matter. You might have another container maybe for PHP. You have another container for something else, and you want to combine them. That's what a pod is. Docker doesn't have a native pod concept for local development. You must use Kubernetes if you want to manage pods effectively using Docker. Obviously, Podman does support Kubernetes. Kubernetes is just another way of having multiple clusters of pods, if you think of it that way. User experience and interface. Beginners usually find the Docker desktop interface very friendly and intuitive. Podman desktop provides a similar graphic experience for all Linux users. Now, as you guys see, I've been using Podman desktop because some people were way overwhelmed when I did the stuff on the command line. But the reason I did it on the command line is so I can understand it. Now when I go to desktop, I do understand it. The command line interface for both tools are nearly identical. Today, you can often alias Podman to Docker without any functional issues. That's true for basically everything today. I said in the past you had to do some tweaks or whatever, but yeah, it's like a drop-in replacement. For, as I said before, 99.9999%. There might be some specific use case, especially the root stuff, but I'd say Podman does a pretty good job with that. Doesn't mean you can't run Podman as root. Obviously, just put -root and the same thing as you do in Docker. Performance is usually very similar between the two popular container engines. Podman might start slightly faster because it lacks a persistent daemon. Docker has a larger community and more third-party integration tools available. Podman is gaining popularity rapidly due to its native Linux integration. So what that means is that if you want a plugin or something, most likely because Docker's been around for longer, you're going to find it in Docker. Security experts often prefer Podman for its excellent rootless container support. This feature prevents attackers from getting root access to your host. Docker recently added rootless mode to compete with Podman's security features. So that's what I'm saying. That's why competition is always pretty good, because if Podman didn't exist, I doubt that feature would have been added to Docker. Setting up rootless Docker requires more manual configuration in your system. Alright, so as you can see here, I have the screenshot just to specify Docker, difference between Docker and Podman, and then that's the live stream you guys are watching right now. So for conclusions and recommendations, I choose Docker if you need a mature ecosystem with extensive documentation. Select Podman if security and system integration are your priorities, especially if you're on Linux. There's no reason to use something else. Fedora users, that's me, will find Podman works perfectly with the operating system. It comes pre-installed on many versions of Fedora workstation distribution. You should try both to see what fits your workflow. Most container images work perfectly in either engine without changes. That's also 100% true. So, I hope that explains why I use Podman instead of Docker, because I said I like being able to run without having become a root user or super admin. That's the gist of it, and it runs pretty well. There's also integration stuff like DistroBox, which you can, of course, Docker you can also run as well. And you know, as you saw pods, you guys have seen me create pods before in the Podman desktop, so that's why. Okay, so if you want to take your skills further, I have books. So the bookshop page on Amazon, you can search for Editor Jumbo, or the link is in the description. I have courses on jumboshop.com, and the link for that is also in the description. And if you're looking for one-on-one online courses, tutorials, you can contact me on jumbo.com/contact, and if you need consultation, or jumboservices.com/contact. I also have some other recommended resources. The first one is my first novelette, The Algorithmic Serpent. It's by me, Editor Jumbo. It's about an AI scientist who creates an AI system and loses his mind, so he has to regain control of his mind and then the AI system. It's a psychological thriller. Pick it up if you have the means. It's mostly at cost. My latest one is the Recession Business Blueprint, and this one is a guide to help you start a business during the current recession or any future recession, and everything you need in there, whether it's accounting, if you need to get lawyers, where to start, all that information is in the Recession Business Blueprint. So for all my books, there's ebook versions. If you have Kindle Unlimited, you can read it for free. Basically, it's free if you have Kindle Unlimited. If you want to know more about me, I'm a software engineer. I'm also an author, and hopefully I'll be an influencer as well. So you can explore my book page, as I said first, on Amazon. The link is in the description. If you need support, jumboservices.com for consultation services. And if you're ready to learn, jumboshop.com, I have the online courses. All the links are in the description, also on the article. And speaking of the comment section, you can write anything related to the topic, because I'm Podman, containers, Linux, Podman desktop. I think there's something called Docker desktop. So those are perfectly fine. If you want to contact me, the best way is contact form with jumbo.com/contact, or jumboservices.com/contact, and jumboshop.com/contact. And then if you want to follow me, these are all the channels: Odyssey, Rumble, BitChute, YouTube, Kick, and Twitch.